All right, so welcome back to episode 5 of Game Analysis. I missed a day already. I feel very, very bad about not uploading yesterday, but here we are. Don't be alarmed. I know my appearance has already changed twice throughout these videos, going through somewhat of a midlife crisis, but that's a personal thing. Don't worry about it. But it's still me. So this is game 5 of the Canadian Scrabble Classic Early Bird 2. And I'm playing Arie Sinke, who is actually in contention to win the whole thing. If he beats me, he wins. If he loses to me, he still wins, so long as Jackson Smiley loses to, I think, Jared Capel. So he's not locked in, but he's doing pretty well. Two things have to go not his way for him to lose. And I'm sitting nice at 1-3 and hoping to win my last game. So, yeah, this is the score sheet. If you want a little bit of a spoiler, if not, just look away. Here you are. There you go. Fantastic. And it's me to start, and I believe these are my letters. I'm not sure about the B. I know that I had another consonant in there, and it was a bad consonant. It wasn't a consonant that formed any four-letter words, or else I would have put a lot more consideration into playing through this rack. But I ended up keeping MOS, which I wasn't sure about at the time, but it seems fine. Keep a vowel. The M goes well with vowels. The M is a good letter. Keep the S as well. I think all of these exchanges are probably quite close. Um, Let me just see if I can get the details box up for you guys. 1 second. Because we can see the differences in bingo chances with this. Yes, there you are. So keeping MOS, that is exchange BDQP. I bingo 33.5% of the time. So keeping MS seems to bingo a little bit more, but I mean, these numbers could change a little bit. Also, keeping mods, which I did also consider, bingo's potentially a little bit more. But as you can see, these numbers are all very close to one another, and I think it's mostly a stylistic choice. So I keep MOS. Already plays fatter, and I have one bingo that I see that I have to play, and that's restroom. It's not ideal if Ari drew an S or had an S. Um, he can just pluralize restroom, make another word, and score really, really big. So obviously, I'm hoping he doesn't have an S, but when he doesn't have an S, he probably will tend to overreact, which is indeed what he does. He ends up playing keg, keeping a very poor leave. I know this because he already posted his version of this game online on crosstables.com, cross-tables.com. You'll see in the video description what that website is all about. But yeah, he probably shouldn't have gone for this. He just did not want this open, which makes perfect sense. It's a very human move to make. Here I play vowel. Not only is HN slightly better than HL, it's also a very defensive play. It doesn't allow any uh, big counterplay on the double double lane here. So I'm confident that this is the best option here. I do have a slight lead here. Alright, then plays tibia. I go ahead and play off two of my A's and my H with aha. There are probably other play. Yeah, I considered playing do, keeping three A's and an N. And I guess I could also keep two A's rather than an A and an O. I actually want to see how well the play of how performs just quickly for some reason. I feel like the AADN isn't actually as bad as it seems. Yeah, it's not that bad. But yeah, keeping three A's is horrible. Keeping two A's is okay. I played aha, seems perfectly reasonable. So far, these plays have been pretty easy to make for me. Arie opens the board with Opuntia. He's now down like 60 points, so that makes perfect sense. And here I had an interesting decision to make. I also might have missed something here. No, okay, so there are two places to play Udon, and excuse me, one of them scores more and seems to be better because it doesn't immediately open any way to access the right side of the board, which is very hard to access right now. However, the problem with this Udon, um, and yeah, people that know what udon is, you can make jokes about it. It's just talking about the play, not the noodle. The problem with this udon is it allows overlaps here, and you can actually sometimes choose the specific overlap you want to play as Ari to maybe set up something on on this row, which I was actually pretty aware of at the time, but I figured that it was pretty difficult to accomplish that, and that the immediate benefits of not allowing certain plays, potentially on the triple, to reopen things on the right side was worth it. And I think that the engine's going to agree with me by a lot, but it's actually potentially not as good as it seems. And I might be a little bit like confirmation bias here, but the problem is he doesn't have to like choose anything specific here now. He can wait and try and make a board opening play later, if he wants to. Anyways, I still think this is probably the best play, but it's definitely something to be aware of when you're defending. Your opponent can make setups of the letters that they have to hope you don't have. And that's indeed what happened. I already played cat, setting up the S hook of scat, and I can do absolutely nothing about this setup. Um, and I actually spent an extremely long period of time on this move because I could not figure out what to do. Felt like everything that I could do would open something. Like, for example, a natural move would be like prow for 18, keeps well and scores decently. But there's so many words to start with R, so many words to start with P, and I'm ahead here, and I really just don't want to do something like that. I'm not ahead by enough where I can really withstand a bingo. If Ari bingos, a lot of the time I'm going to be at a disadvantage. So I didn't like that play. I couldn't really find anywhere to play off AP that like scored anything, because I have to keep scoring. I'm only up 30. If he does have an S, he could just have a 40-point play. So I was really confused here, and I ended up just going for the equity play, and equity being the play that seemed to leave the best letters, and that plus the score that it was, just seemed to be like at very basic levels, it seemed to be the best play. But obviously, I don't want to make a play like this in the game because I don't have an S. I'm setting up another S hook. And yeah, it just doesn't accomplish anything for me. It doesn't defend anything. It's just not a play that you want to make. So I'm open for suggestions here as to what I should have done. Maybe I should play wrap, because at least it sets up my T for wrapped. And I don't know, maybe prow is okay, just be aggressive. But I like the idea that most of his bingos, if he has an S, they're going to hook wops. They're not going to score that well. They're sort of going to be air balls that maybe I'll be able to bingo back with my very strong leave of train. So that was my thinking there. I'm going to put a questionable because I really had no idea what to do, and I spent a ton of time. And the funny thing about WAP is that he probably thinks I have an S a lot of the time with that play, but I just did not. He plays swirl. I draw into Granita, and it doesn't fit. And yeah, the best plays are very sad. Just fishing off an A for no points at all. That doesn't really make sense here. I'm not really gonna get somewhere to play if I just play off an A. So I decided to play Fang. I could also play Fag here. But I think my play is okay. I guess I could consider playing LA because that at least sets up a lane for myself. It's extremely aggressive. He's probably gonna play there. It's does not does not fare well against a lot of positions. Let's go back here and make sure that the averages are correct here. Yeah, I ended up just scoring as much as I could. Wasn't really happy in this position. My lead is sort of disintegrating. And I don't have anything to show for it. So it shows the power of setting yourself up. But LA, yeah, maybe that's the play. I don't really know. I don't think it makes any sense. I think he's going to be able to do stuff that I don't want after LA. So I play Fang. He plays Ditz. So now he is almost ahead. I'm still ahead by 3 points. But again, I don't really have anything to show for at this point in the game. I just play Taboo. Again, I'm just going for the I guess autopilot play of points and leave, which is not something I I like to do. In games I like to have a plan. My plan here is just to score and leave well, which is a very basic plan. Copal comes down and I draw extremely well. I draw IE blank and I'm able to bingo with airside for 74. I can also play diaries or dairies. The idea behind that is that it sort of gobbles up more space in the top right of the board, but it's just not worth doing for 7 fewer points. It still allows bingos to play. It allows huge plays over here as well, which he's unlikely to have, but it could still happen. So airside, I think, makes the most sense. I'm not ahead by too much. I'm ahead by a bingo, so I don't really want to be trading bingos after just shedding a bunch of points for a better board position. So Arie just drops the Q, which I was very happy to see, because this really allows me to clamp down on the position. There are a bunch of plays here that accomplish nothing, but finally I said to myself, I can finally accomplish something. I'm ahead 64. He's clearly close to a bingo. Where can he bingo? Here mostly. And I play Vose, which just blocks so many of his bingos and leaves very well for scoring. I have like yoked. I have possibility of dropping my Y, and obviously this spot here is huge. But since he played there, he probably doesn't have the tiles to take advantage of this spot. So I was very happy to play Vose here. But he does indeed play something very nice there with Fem, but that's okay. I'm up 50 points. The board is very tough to work with, and I'm feeling decent. So I drew another S, which was very nice. And I missed, so both turns I missed Ditzy plays. And I think I must have missed this. This looks like the best play. I'm actually not sure. I didn't write down if I had the S already. It's possible I had the D. It's possible I had the D. I don't know. I'm willing to believe I missed this play of U's, which does super well to control everything. But I'm not really sure. So I'm just gonna put that I don't know what my lead was because I didn't write it down. I ended up playing OY, trying to block this T, which is the biggest threat in the position now. And he plays NOM. Where does he play that? NOM here. Yeah. It's funny, he first put down Dawn, and then he switched it, and then muttered, "It makes no difference," which is really funny. Because it's true, it scores the same. Might look like it might score more, because you're doubling an M, but yeah, it does score the same because you're not getting double for the D instead. Anyways, just funny little tidbit there. Yeah, I either had the D or the S on the last turn. I'm pretty sure it was the D though. And I can play Da here. I can play Das here. I can score really well. And I can play Joked to set up my H for next turn because the plays on the board are really rapidly running out. There's not much to do. I can also just play Joke. The problem with that is now he can potentially score with like Yar or something in this position, which would score really, really well. So at this point, I'm really just trying to score as much as possible and outrun any bingos he has, like keep scoring tiles on my rack. So yeah, it's possible that playing Da is okay. It's just that the J, although it scores well a lot, could run into trouble if you don't get a good spot for it. So I think playing the J is probably better here. Um, Although Da's just scores a ton. The problem with Daz is I'm getting rid of my S. The S is extremely powerful tile, not only for offense, but also for defense. There are many positions in which you can use your S to be very defensive. Uh, for example, to prevent your opponent from using an S hook, you use your own S hook. So I like the idea of keeping the S here. I think it's probably worth more than the engine thinks it is. But I decided to play Joked and set up the H and keep the H as a flexible scoring tile, which I think is probably right. And yeah, I didn't really have any. Every turn I was looking for plays to sort of like block this area. I couldn't find any. Very interestingly, like for example here, you would want to play something like LEU to block swirls, but look at this like deep lane here. There's 9 spaces here. And so like playing LEU actually allows bingos to still play, which I thought was really weird, like geometrically. I've not really seen. I mean, every board in Scrabble is completely different. Like there's everything is unique, but something like this seems so bizarre since all the space is taken up, but the only way to like sort of interfere with the swirl hook is to actually just open an even easier lane. Um, I could also just play lewd, which still allows bingos to fit. Um, but lewd actually might be a good play. Not really sure. I decided to go the outrunning route, which we call just trying to outscore any bingo the opponent can have. Um, yeah, Arie plays Ire here for 11 points, which, yeah, this doesn't seem good for him in this position. He's not able to score, and he's down by a lot. Now here I just cash my H. I'm not really sure I should have done this. There are a bunch of options that I might have wanted to consider here, like maybe here, something like this. The problem is, again, like both of these letters are now floaters, so I'm not necessarily blocking things, and I can't afford to play 4 letters because that will empty the bag. So maybe something like Q is okay. And also, it's possible that OH is better than OH here, just because if he's drawn the X, there's a really, really easy spot to drop it. So you might want to calculate if you can withstand such a thing. Right now I'm up 71. I'll be up 95. If he drops the X, I'll be up 68. And yeah, it sort of seems a bit rough. However, if he plays the X, there'll still be 2 in the bag. I'll be able to play 1 letter off and still continue to try and outrun the bingos that he might have. So I'm in a pretty crushing position, I would say here. But yeah, maybe Hugh is the best bet because it doesn't really allow him to fish 1 letter off. Because the only place, I mean, it's possible he can do something like YA. But yeah, if I draw the X, I'm pretty much just guaranteed to win. And if I don't draw the X, he probably has the X. And if he drops the X, I can just make a very defensive play, I think. So Hugh's probably the best bet here. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to analyze this position with the computer. He drops the X, as I feared. And I have this rack, and basically I'm just going to let the championship player run, see if it finds anything. It's going to take a very long time, though, because whenever there's a blank involved, the simulation takes forever. So the threats right now in this position are plays hooking swirl. That's basically the only thing I'm worried about. If he has something like Yelins, that's 7, 18, 20, 80 points. And right now I'm only up 68. So I'm sort of worried about that. If I play something like Serene for 12, 16, 21, I'll be up by 89 points. and that's probably enough to win. The problem is there might just be some crazy overlapping play I'm missing. The maximum he can score after Serene uh, is if there's something like Yuletide, which there isn't. But the maximum you can score through the letters of Serene is not going to be enough to win. I'm pretty sure. Let me think. 8, 11, 13, 82. Oh, 82, 84. Hmm. Actually, it's really close. Because right now I'm up 68. Like I said, this is 12, 16, 21, 89. If I draw, for example, 2 1-point tiles, I'll have 6 points on my rack. So if he scores 83, can he score 83? Can he score 84, 11, 13, 14, 16, 82? So yeah, it looks like Serene would win the game unless there's like a play that doubles the Y and doubles the G, which I should be able to think about and iterate through in the game. I was running low on time. This is a very weird game where I tried to play defense at the start and tried to play defense mid game, and it was kind of difficult to find plays. But it looks like Serene will do it unless there's some crazy play that fits. Like it's probably not very good for what we call spread, point differential, because I'm potentially allowing him to play bingos like ungenial through this end that he wouldn't have had otherwise, and that'll bring him close. It won't win the game, but that'll bring our margin a bit closer. But yeah, I think something like Serene is the right idea here. Instead, I found this very bizarre blocking play, and I'm gonna let you guys in the YouTube comments section try and figure this play out while I drink a little tea. It's a very very bizarre looking move. You have to be pretty sure that it'll do it. Because if I don't empty the bag, if I play one tile off here, he could play a tile here, like DE, or something like YA. The lucky thing is I have the R for RYA. So that doesn't quite work. But LA or NA, if there's some word that starts with A, I cannot block. Like, it's impossible pretty much to block the lane. So that's the sort of thing you're looking out for if you're defending, and you're looking for if you're trying to overcome your deficit, especially when you have a blank because it's so versatile. So yeah, if you're not going to empty the bag in this position, you have to be really sure that you're covering all of those scenarios where a certain letter that you may or may not have is set up on another part of the board that you can't really block. So yeah, because AHA doesn't take an S. There's no extension for GHI that I can think of. No extension for NAB. So the way to block if NA or LA comes down would be I'd have to play to the LA or NA, which I don't see that I can even do. And even if I could do that, that opens even more stuff for the opponent. So you have to be really careful in these sorts of positions. And that's why I think I should have played Serene just to make sure that I wasn't missing something. But it did look pretty ugly for Arie. It did look like he couldn't do much. But yeah, Serene wins 100% of the time. But the play I made, I think, also wins 100% of the time. And the engine did not find this play. This play is Ayers for 4, which is totally insane looking. But I can iterate through all the possibilities that were from my perspective. I had RNEUE, yeah. So from my perspectives, these were the letters. And okay, he has really cool. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, that is crazy. But it's not possible. You'd have to have 8 letters to play tongue like. But yeah, the only threats, I've put in all the unseen letters at the same time, so the engine can now see what the threats are. Oh no, 25 minutes. Okay, game over. But swirlingly, yeah. So swirlingly would get him close actually. Um, he'd be down 18. He'd have EE blank or EU blank or EEU. I would still be able to score enough to outrun by a little bit, like something just like genre will be enough to win. But that's a really cool extension play that he might have had. But yeah, I suggested. So yeah, there's no win here. There's no way for him to win after Ayers, which is the play I was asking you guys to find. I suggested to Arie, his rack was actually Yelin blank. I suggested that he should have played YA because if he draws the R, like I said, there's no way for me, I think, to block this lane that he's setting up. If he draws the R, he has relines, bunch of reeling, a bunch of stuff here that I can't see myself being able to block. Luckily, I had the R, so I was aware of that possibility, and it wasn't going to work. It actually would have left me with an out bingo of my own. But yeah, instead, Arie just gives up and plays Yelin, which I don't blame him for. I had this play, so I would have been able to play Reneg and Raya to win the game. Okay, so yeah, few plays here are best. Reggie's, plural of Rex, Negus, which is an African, I think an African leader of some sort, and Reglu. So I played Negus, which is also, it was a funny, if you've ever watched Spelling Bees, there was a funny moment where this was the word given, and the kid was like, what are you saying? And yeah, Arie missed this really cool outplay, making Copalm, and played Gov for 6, and that was game over, and a very low scoring win of 397 against Arie's 348. Which actually, by the way, I think Arie might have a record right now of scoring more than 300 for as many games as possible in a row. I think he's over 500 tournament games in a row where he scored over 300, which I cannot say for myself. I score under 300 a lot because I tend to go for very unlikely wins when I'm down, and I also tend to explode or implode, I guess, when I'm down. So yeah, I'm not very good at that sort of thing. But anyways, I end up beating Arie, who ends up winning the entire event, the main event. He actually ends up losing this early bird to Jackson because he lost and Jackson won, as I mentioned in the beginning. So it was good to stop somebody to have any influence over the result of the tournament. But yeah, I still went 2-3, very disappointing. And after this, I'm going to bring you guys the first early bird. I should have done that first, but I decided I would do the second one first. I'm sorry if that hurts you. It hurts me a little bit too, but I have 8 more games to show you guys. Bunch of episodes coming soon. And thanks for watching. As always, everything you need to know about the tournament I played in and the software I'm using is in the description. And I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. All right, later.